to do. Now, a Norv Turner offense and the Vikings offense with Adrian Peterson, they're not going to run very many sets out of formations with play calls that have a fullback in the backfield. There's going to be a lot of single backfield for the Minnesota Vikings. So having a tight end that can do that, and then also having Matt Asiata, who originally was a fullback that got moved to halfback out of necessity due to circumstances last year. Why the Vikings, and they re-signed him to a multi-year contract in the offseason. Not a huge one, but like a 3-year, $6 million, or I don't know, I forget what it was. I had it in my Ron Burgundy notebook, which is full and I don't get to use anymore. But the point being is the Vikings have several players that they are much more committed to that can play the fullback position whenever we need a fullback lined up back there. And like I said, your top two candidates, depending on the play call, are Rhett Ellison, if you're looking for the big, strong, blocking fullback back there, in maybe a jumbo package or something. You said jumbo package. See, Balls Deep Sports Talk with football season, like the terminology puns are just, they might get unbearing at times. I apologize if they do. But anyway, back to where I was. You use Rhett Ellison as your fullback in those formations. You put Kyle Rudolph and Chase Ford and Pruitt up on the line. You've got 3 tight ends yet. Okay, boom, you're good to go. Or if you're looking for a more athletic dual threat, what are we going to do? We've got options type of 2-back set in the backfield. Then you have Matt Asiata as that fullback, that athletic. I can run, I can run out of the backfield here. I'm a legitimate threat to take a handoff either up the middle or outside to my side. I can pass block. I can run block somewhat. That would be his one weakness there. When you'd have him at fullback, you'd less be looking for him to run block. You'd be looking for him to play action. You play action to him and give it to AP, or you play action to AP and give it to him. But you wouldn't be asking one of those two guys to run block. But that's a wonderful, wonderful pairing of 2-back backfields that still allow us to have all our tight ends that deserve to make this team. So like I said, sorry, Zach Line, you're getting cut, and best wishes to you in the future because you're a good guy and a decent player. There just isn't a spot on this Vikings team for you. So yeah, that's a cut to look for when the Vikings have to start making cuts here in the preseason. Finishing off the backfield, of course, we got AP, Matt Asiata, who I just mentioned, and Jerick McKinnon. On his second year, look for him to, it's just an awesome, you've got the do-it-all workhorse beast in AP, then you've got this Darren Sproles-ish, not exactly like that, but this very agile weapon in McKinnon and this traditional pounder of a guy in Asiata. It's a wonderful, every skill set on our roster offensively is talented from top to bottom and fits their role for this offense and how you like to use players' strengths in scheming and play calling and things like that. And the only question then, really to me, where this offense could struggle and not be in the top half of the league in just about every statistical category this upcoming season is the offensive line. That's what the success of this offense is going to come down to. In addition to, as like I always say, staying healthy. And the biggest question marks on that offensive line would be the 2 offensive tackle positions. Matt Khalil, will he return to his rookie Pro Bowl form, or will he be the underproductive left tackle that we have seen over the last 2 seasons? It sounds as though he is the healthiest he has been since his rookie season now, and that was supposedly a huge reason for his struggles over the last 2 years, as well as the transition from his old blocking scheme under the old coaching systems to the Norv Turner one, that zone blocking ish type of scheme that he was running last year and is running now. However, like I said, all reports are that he is healthy and should be able to bounce back. So that being said, this is very much a 100% make or break year for Matt Kalil. If all those things are true, then he needs to get out on the field, produce, and stay healthy for the season. If he can do those things, then he will essentially lock up his job as the left tackle here for a while yet. If he fails to do any of those things, if he fails to stay healthy, or if he fails to produce for pretty much the entirety of this season, then he will be gone, and we will be getting a new left tackle, whether it be in the draft or free agency, or whether we are able to move this year's 4th round draft pick, TJ Clemmings, who will be likely starting this season at right guard, and hopefully that lasts the whole season. If Kalil fails, I believe he's the likely choice to go over there, and then maybe we would look to get a new right guard. But either way, we would have a new left tackle if Kalil fails to stay healthy or fails to produce this season. This is his make or break. He can either, like I said, he can lock up his future here with the Minnesota Vikings as our starting left tackle for the next several years with a productive and healthy season, or he can ensure his fate of not being a Minnesota Viking after this season by failing to produce or failing to stay healthy. I wish him nothing but the best. I hope for him to stay healthy and produce, as I always want what is best for the Minnesota Vikings, and that is definitely what is best for the Minnesota Vikings. Now, at left guard next to Kalil will be Brandon Fusco, who is a wonderful interior lineman that was injured the vast majority of last season. That was another reason our line was so weak, was because Fusco wasn't playing in a lot of the games last year. He's a great guard entering the prime of his career, and they have moved him over to left guard alongside Kalil, so he'll have more help. Kalil will, he'll have more help over there than he has in the past couple seasons as well, with Fusco side alongside him. And then you've got Sullivan, a very consistent, Pro Bowl caliber center, just, stable and as good as it gets in the league. So you've got the potential for a really great, left tackle, left guard center right there, potentially, if Kalil can, like I said, get back to his rookie year form and stay healthy, and if Fusco at left guard next to him can stay healthy. So then we've got the right side of the line with our rookie 4th round steal of a pick, TJ Clemmings, ideally being the starter there at right guard, and so long as he is healthy enough, that's the only reason we got him in the draft where we did. Otherwise, he would have been gone in 1st round or 2nd round had he been healthier. But if he is healthy, he's our starting right guard. And if Loadholt, to me, that's the biggest if on the whole offensive line, is Phil Loadholt over there on the right side. Since re-signing his big deal, he just, before he signed his big deal even, the majority of this guy's career has been very inconsistent. When he is at his best, he is one of the best right tackles in all of football throughout his career in Minnesota here. When he's not at his best, he gets burnt and is a liability on too many occasions. Not all the time, but on too many occasions. And the problem with that, and yes, one could argue that's everyone, but the problem is we get Phil Loadholt at his best, or we've gotten Phil Loadholt at his best far lesser times than we've gotten, Phil Loadholt at his worst. We've gotten a lot of that. So, and if Loadholt struggles, this year. I think it's another make or break year for him as well. If Lodehold struggles, he's gone. But if he struggles this year, we might even bail on him then and move Clemmings over from right guard to right tackle, should he be healthy. Because as I mentioned earlier, he is naturally a tackle, and they're just going to be moving him to right guard so that they can play him and utilize him because he's that good. Or we could move him to right tackle and then up either my man Joe Cheeseburger at starting right guard, who is just an ideal depth chart utility backup at either guard position, left or right, or the center position on your offensive line. He takes up 3 depth chart spots with one guy. He's so versatile. Not a superstar, but can start games for you at any of those 3 positions, and you're not going to miss much of anything on that offensive line when you do that. So we can plug him in then at right guard, or we can plug in David Yankee. I mean, you got to love a guy named whose last name is Yankee, right? Right? I mean, at least on Balls Deep Sports Talk, I think we're obligated to. So he could also be plugged in at right guard should Clemmings need to get moved over to right tackle. I believe he was a mid-round pick around the 5th round last year for the Vikings. So that's the Vikings offense wrapped up in a nutshell. And like I said, so long as we stay relatively healthy, the only place this Vikings offense can, be weak at is the outside of the offensive line. But there is reason to believe that that might not be the case. All right. Let's save Vikings defense for next week. Yeah, since we got plenty of preseason to fill here yet. Well, that was the Vikings preseason training camp offense breakdown, and next week we will do their defense breakdown. Thanks for tuning in. This is Balls Deep Sports Talk with your host Scotty Ball. Now let's get to a few other football stories, and then we will put Balls on Fire officially out. With a feel-good football story here, Eric Berry, a former top 10 draft choice first-round safety on the Kansas City Chiefs, he was unable to play all year last year, and he's a perennial Pro Bowler. He was kind of like Earl Thomas the year before Earl Thomas was Earl Thomas, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, somebody, but I think that's the case. Anyway, he had to sit out all of last season, perennial Pro Bowler, like I said, first-round draft choice, Kansas City Chiefs, safety, due to cancer treatment, having to undergo cancer treatment. Well, just the other day, he was recently medically cleared to return to football. So welcome back and congratulations, Eric Berry. That is extremely awesome, and I'm happy for him and I'm happy for his family. Anybody that has to go through cancer themselves or loved ones, it's never easy, and it's always awesome to hear the good news stories when things work out for people. So congratulations to Eric Berry again and his family, and also the Kansas City Chiefs. He's a stud on the football field, so he makes their defense quite a bit better. Russell Wilson over in Seattle still has yet to sign his super huge extension contract that he's seeking, but it does appear that at some point in time they are going to get that settled, and it's going to be huge money. They still haven't done it yet. Over in Carolina, the Carolina Panthers offensive tackle Jonathan Martin, who most people would remember as the draft choice of the Miami Dolphins, who got picked on by Richie Incognito and then told on him, and then got Richie Incognito basically suspended for the year and kicked off the Dolphins, and then Jonathan Martin didn't really do anything there either. That Jonathan Martin. He was scheduled to be an offensive tackle on the Carolina Panthers this year, who desperately needed offensive line help across the board, especially at the tackle position. Well, no, not across the board. Actually, their interior offensive line is pretty good, just the tackle position. He could have competed for a starting job there. 25 years old, he announced his retirement the other day. Apparently, he needed back surgery from due to an injury of some kind, and he decided to not